Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in a tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's in me. It ain't on me. So creative like I made Adobe. I've been balling like I played with Kobe.
What's the deal? What's the deal? We back with another one. PolitiKan the podcast live, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Just got to get to these topics, man. First topic, man, we've been having an inner debate about who's the GOAT of the NBA, so we got to bring it to the pod. So we got to get that GOAT talk, man. Right after that, the Jordan Poole, Draymond Green saga continues as Draymond Green gets into it with Kevin Garnett and Jordan Poole's father on Twitter. And Jordan Poole's father said he need that Draymond's a bitch and he want the Fed. I know, it's crazy, huh? I know.
Bruh.
Then in NFL, we got Saqoun Barkley. He was franchise tagged along with two other of the top 5 running backs in the league. They are on a downward turn, and the league is now moving away from paying running backs long term. So Saqoun Barkley is not accepting the franchise tag, and he may sit out the entire year. Then we got to get to hip hop, man. So after all this time, they raid a house.
Why?
Talking about they have something connected to Tupac's murder. And as the debates heat up, as we get closer to the 2024 election, we had Mayor DeSantis drop a campaign, and his campaign was using Trump's voice, AI voice, to make a campaign about Trump, making it sound like Trump is saying some shit that Trump ain't said. And we was talking about this about 3-4 months ago on this podcast. And now it's real. What is happening to the former president? And that shit is funny as hell. So let's get to this first topic, man. What's the deal, Mayor? You had to come
What up?
You had to come with all that Lakers shit on, though. Huh?
Hey, I had to give you some Magic Johnson today. No LeBron James. No LeBron James. Y'all some haters anyway.
Where was you at when we was talking about the LeBron rule? How you like the new LeBron rule?
What
anti-flapping?
Oh, that does nothing for me. I don't care about it.
I'm happy.
LeBron
James rule.
I'm happy that it's actually implemented, because LeBron only did it because so many other players got away with it.
Oh my God!
No, I'm just saying. Hey, Kobe came to the Lakers off the biggest flopper in NBA history. So let's not forget that. Vlade is the GOAT of flopping.
LeBron's the GOAT of flopping.
Yes, that is LeBron James rule.
No,
for sure.
LeBron is just over dramatic. He gets tapped in the face and then he falls and has a full-on episode. That's not flopping. That's just showing.
You're flopping. If you pull up, go to YouTube and type in LeBron James flopping. They got whole videos, several of it, bro. He has bro.
10 minute mixtapes of flopping.
10 minutes.
Don't let my banter make you think I'm a LeBron fan, because I'm not. So,
all right,
James Harden.
Let's get to this first topic. Let's get to this first topic, man. So we have been having this GOAT debate amongst us as far as who is the greatest of all time in the NBA. A lot of people say Jordan. Some people say that LeBron can never be the GOAT because of how many times he's lost in the finals. We got people talking about Kareem. We got people talking about Wilt Chamberlain. So we're going to ask the panel today, who is your GOAT? You know, we've got some people even bringing in Kobe. Who is your GOAT and why, man? Let's get to it.
The greatest of all time. All right. First and foremost, this is a subjective topic, right? So it's different for different people. But the greatest of all time, what I measure it, is dominance. Who dominates the game, right? So to me, at first, the most dominant player in my head and I am an anti-Laker fan, but I went with Shaq. Shaq was my first choice. Actually, Jordan was my first choice, Chicago Bulls. But then I was like, Shaq was more dominant. He just didn't work to his potential. Then I thought about it. Well, y'all, you're talking about dominance. The objective of basketball, ladies and gentlemen, is to win championships. And guess what? Bill Russell has 11 of those things. Now, the debate would be, hey, y'all, he wasn't playing against as good as a talent as LeBron James is playing against and everything like that. Ladies and gentlemen, technology has got better. So therefore, the players of now are better. So if you take that same philosophy and you take the players back then and give them the same technology they have now, wouldn't those players be better as well? Keep going, y'all. It has 11 of those things. Guy comes in what, 1956 or something like that, and then he ends his career in 1969 or something like that, right? So he's playing in the peak. Well, racism that has never went away, but he's playing with segregation. He's playing with all those things. And 11 of his championships, he is a player coach. Is LeBron James a player coach, ladies and gentlemen? No, he never won as a player coach, right? And guess what? What team did he play for? He played for the Boston Celtics. Everybody even in the league now still thinks Boston Celtics is racist. So how are you going to be a coach back in the day? That means you were dominant. You were dominating the game, right? So let's keep talking about dominance right quick. Not only did he win 11 of those things, nobody's even close to that. If you talk about the greatest franchises of all time, you have to say it's a tie between the Lakers and the Boston Celtics. And some people would say, well, technically Boston is better because Lakers only got 16 because of their bubble championship. Ladies and gentlemen, leave it on that man right there, LeBron James. Leave it on LeBron. Leave it on LeBron. Ladies and gentlemen, how could you say the Lakers have 17, but one of them is a bubble championship, but you don't do that same thing with LeBron James? Nobody goes, LeBron James, you have 4, but one of them is a bubble championship. No, people just say LeBron got 4. So if LeBron has 4, that means the Lakers have 17. You have to take out that bubble championship. Going back to Bill Russell, he has 11 of those things. If you take Bill Russell away from the Boston Celtics, they are tied with the Chicago Bulls for championships. They are no longer the greatest. Now, my last thing I want to say about dominance, all these people and the rest of the panel, when they talk about their GOAT, all of your GOATs have to have one thing in common. And you must have a finals MVP. And who's that award named after? My point exactly. It ain't named after nobody else but the man who has 11 championships. LeBron James, you can't be GOAT because you changing your number from number 6 because you're paying homage to the real GOAT. I'm done.
Wow.
I'll follow up because I have another GOAT that's not a traditional GOAT. I wanted to think about how before our traditional GOAT of Michael Jordan, there had to be someone that was pushing him in the direction of wanting to be great, right? And just like y'all said with Bill Russell having 11 championships, that happened before Jordan even got into the league, right? Before Bird got into the league, before Magic got into the league, that was already cemented, right? So Jordan coming in, you can't reach that accolade. You can't reach that top tier. Who's next up? Magic Johnson. Yes, sir. Magic Johnson. Reason why I think he's the GOAT, he has 10 championships. He has 5 with the Lakers as a player. He has 5 as a minority owner of the Lakers. He was a key factor into signing Shaquille O'Neal. He was a key factor in that trade to get Kobe for Vlade Divac. And also when you take in consideration getting drafted into the league as a rookie, you know, a true rookie, a 1 year, or not 1 year, but a true rookie, making it all the way to the finals, playing against Dr. J, right? At the time, arguably one of the greatest players, if not the greatest, as far as in his position at the time, right? And Dr. J had a hard time getting to the finals. So when you think about how much work he put in with the ABA and also the NBA, that man probably had the most determination to win that championship than anybody could even imagine. Magic starts as center, you know, that whole scenario, starts at center, plays forward and guard, and leads the team to his first championship. I believe it was like a 42-point triple double. I could be wrong. Lights went out because obviously I'm talking the truth, right? It just doesn't make any sense. Magic does something that nobody else has ever done. I'm just being honest. Look, the 87, 88, the championships, like, because I was born in the middle of a back-to-back. Like, really, really think about it. Magic, if not for the AIDS, he would have been considered the GOAT. And I know in my heart and soul, Jordan had to look up to that and wanted to be better than that. I mean, he was already in the league when Magic won in 87 and 88. So he had to sit back and go, I have to meet him in the championship to get mine. They got their rivalry or their opportunity to go against each other in 91, 92, if I'm not mistaken. And that's when the torch was passed and Jordan took off and became who he is. But who did he look up to? Who was his GOAT while he was doing the things that he was doing? Magic Johnson. It wasn't Larry Bird. Larry Bird didn't get 5. So, and then still no disrespect, the way Yajic had brought up dominance, I also want to think about influence, right? Jordan might have had, I want to be like Mike. Magic had Showtime. He created a completely different genre of basketball. Jerry Buss brought in cheerleaders, and he was the first owner in the NBA to bring in cheerleaders, saying, I have the best athletes on the floor. I want you guys to look at the best women that I can bring in front of you during timeouts and halftime so that you can get the best experience that the NBA has to offer here in my house at the Great Western Forum. So I'm going with Irvin Magic Johnson as my GOAT in this conversation.
Wow. This hasn't gone the way I thought it would. So what you got, famous homie?
I was gonna go last, but it's cool. I'm gonna go now. With this topic, I think people, I mean, of course, it's everyone's opinion, but you know, you have to contextualize it. So I heard about Bill Russell earlier. I think the GOAT has to be the combination of, you know, what we see, eye test, statistics, and accolades. Bill Russell, there's not enough footage of Bill Russell for us to even verify any of this shit. No one in this era has seen Bill Russell do anything. We don't have any video footage. We don't have anything. All we got is to look at stats. So how can any of us say Bill Russell is a GOAT of anything when we've never seen him play? So, for context, there were 8 teams in the league. I mean, we wouldn't still call Atari the GOAT because it was the GOAT of video games when it first started. Atari is not. Video games have advanced. So Atari can't be the GOAT. Bill wasn't there in the beginning when the league was 8 teams, and he had all the great players on his team. Boston had all the great players on their team. So winning 11 championships, I think there's an asterisk next to that, because if you have the best players on your team in an 8-team league, of course you're going to win all the championships. Bill Russell shot 45% from the field as a center. 45%. That's what Kobe shoots, and they call him inefficient. They call Kobe inefficient, and he shot 45%. Bill Russell shot 45% from the field. Okay? So there's no way a big can be the GOAT that shoots 45% when you're only shooting shots within 8 foot of the rim. No. So let's X Bill off that. Now I got to go attack the other person's GOAT, Magic Johnson, which is he's a favorite player of one of my favorite players. Because I'm a traditional Laker fan before the Queen got here. So Magic Johnson, I love Magic Johnson, but there is no way in hell Magic Johnson would be the GOAT. The GOAT, the combination, the GOAT in my opinion, is the very best offensive player and the very best defensive player at the same time. People forget about the combination of both. Bill Russell was offensively weak. Magic was defensively weak. He don't have any defensive accolades. There's no way you can be the best player ever when you're not good defensively. Magic had 0 all-defensive teams. Magic was a defensive liability. Ask the Detroit Pistons on that 30 for 30 documentary what they did. They said, whoever Magic was guarding, we attacked. Ain't no way the best player ever is getting pointed out like that, like we gonna attack you. No way. So Magic being defensively weak, Magic being gifted to a Lakers team that was already championship built. They just needed one more great player. Magic had his 3rd best player in James Worthy win Finals MVP. He had a stacked team in an era where it was 3 teams that was winning. So I can't call Magic the GOAT because of those deficiencies. I think there's only 2 names when it comes to the GOAT. Shaq, no, I ain't even gonna waste my time on Shaq. But there's 2 names, in my opinion, that can be the GOAT. The most dominant player offensively, the most dominant player defensively. I'm going to say first, Michael Jeffrey Jordan. Michael Jordan, he was the greatest offensive player and the greatest defensive player of his time. If not the greatest, the top 3 defender of his era. You probably say Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen, which they happen to be on his team. But, you know, Dennis Rodman and Scottie Pippen were probably maybe better or as good as Jordan defensively. But Jordan had no weaknesses. Jordan, there's no game plan for Jordan. You can't make him shoot jumpers. You can't make him drive to the hole. You can't make him put him at the free throw line. Portland left him open on the 3-point line in 92. What did he do? He bust their ass for 6 threes in the finals. That was a lot back then because they didn't shoot threes like that. So Michael Jordan dominated the game, and he had no weaknesses in his game. So I think there's only one other player, and y'all probably already know who I'm about to say, who has that same comparison. Kobe being Bryant. Kobe Bryant had no weaknesses in the game. You can't game plan for Kobe. Kobe could do everything. He was a top defender, the best defender of his era with the accolades, 12 all-defensive teams, which leads everybody in history. Him and Tim Duncan have the most all-defensive teams. That means he was the greatest defensive player, and you already know about his offensive bag. We ain't got to get into that. He has 5 championships. He's done the most with the least out of all the top 10 players. He won 2 championships with Pau Gasol. Pau Gasol is no Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Paul Gasol ain't even no James Worthy. Paul Gasol ain't no Scottie Pippen. Paul Gasol ain't no Kevin McHale. Paul Gasol ain't no Dwayne Wade or Kyrie Irving. LeBron James, no, he's not the GOAT. But Paul Gasol is not that. Kobe Bryant took the team, Paul Gasol on it, to 3 straight finals and won 2 championships in the most statistically best ever defensive era of NBA history. If you don't believe me, look it up. From 98 to 2013, the NBA was at its lowest in scoring. They had seasons where they were scoring 91 points a game. Look it up if you don't believe it. They had seasons where the possessions were 30 less or 20 less than they are now, 20 less than the 80s era. Kobe Bryant did what he did. He dominated the game. Let's talk about dominating. Kobe Bryant dominated the game in an era where it was the most difficult to score. 81 points, 62 3/4. I mean, completely demoralized. And on top of that, what we don't talk about is the man won 2 championships with a broken index finger on his shooting hand, to the point where he had to take his shooting hand, his index off the ball while it was rotating and shoot with 4 fingers. If you see his interview, he described that. The man had a broken finger on his index, on his shooting finger, and still won 2 championships. So when they talk about all this GOAT stuff, I don't mind people saying Michael Jordan, but I think the only 2 that has everything that you can have in a GOAT debate is Kobe and Jordan. They had no weaknesses. LeBron can't shoot free throws. LeBron is horrible outside of 10 feet and inside the 3-point line. He has terrible percentages. LeBron don't have an offensive back. There's things you can plan for LeBron, like Grant Hill said. Grant Hill said, I could push off LeBron and make him shoot. I could make LeBron drive. But Kobe, I didn't have a plan for him. So my 2 answers is Kobe Bryant and Michael Jordan. You can pick either one.
Okay, make some points. So Devontae, man, first time on the pod, man. Welcome. What's your take on this?
Well, these are some really interesting GOAT takes. And I appreciate them all, but just starting it off, my GOAT is Travis Knight. And we just gonna go Like, what
Wait,
the hell
hold
was
on.
that?
Wait, hold on.
Oh,
Is that the first thing you want to say on the pod?
Yeah, I'm cool with that. I'm cool to just start off like that. You know what I'm saying? What they say,
Oh,
icebreaker.
damn.
That's the icebreaker. Travis Knight. Yeah. Man, like I've grown over the growth debate over years because, like, to me, it's so subjective, and I just stick to the point of who has influenced me and who I feel impacted by the most. Like, from a basketball fan standpoint, just to make me fall in love with the game, my GOAT is always going to be Kobe Bryant. It's never going to change. And like, I don't try to make it so zealous. I've always explained the reason why Kobe's my GOAT because I let everybody do the MJ comparisons and stuff, and that's cool. It's whatever. It doesn't bother me none. But for me, the number one thing was just the longevity and consistency. Like, when you look at me being a Lakers fan and looking at the state that we're in now, we're like, where you can look at a lot of teams and like, oh, they got their next guy. And, you know, yeah, we got Bron and we got AD, but it's still like, for real, I feel like Laker fans, you're still waiting for that shoe to be filled. Like, who's coming after Kobe? Because what I love about the Magic and the Kobes that were mentioned, I'm going to get on to Bill Russell in a second. I love that, like, you know, when Magic was gone, it was like, who's coming after Magic, you know? And I feel like that's where we're at now as Laker fans, just waiting to see who's coming. Like, you're like, oh, y'all got Bron, be happy. And like, that's cool, but it's different when you know what Kobe did for you as a Laker fan. It's just something that's different because he was like, every sports person has their guy. And you know what I'm saying? Like, Bron fans got Bron, and for Kobe fans, it's Kobe. And I wish we would have got that finals because that would have handled a lot of things. But for me, it was the longevity and just the work ethic. Like, to this day, the reason I get up early, grind, and try to just focus are just me try to give 100% in whatever I do. You know what I'm saying? Sports wise, of course, the scoring ability, he just attacked. He constantly attacked. And that's how, yeah, of course, MJ was. But for a kid to come into the league, and my favorite MJ quote, the one I always talk about, is that All-Star game when he talks about, man, that young kid, and he'll say something about Kobe, and he kind of like throwing a little shot at him because he knew Kobe was on his ass. He knew Kobe was coming. And like, to be that young and to have that mindset to come in like, nah, this is mine. I want it. I just, you gotta, for me, it's just respect that. And my favorite Kobe moment is also my saddest Kobe moment is where towards Achilles, he still went out and shot the free throws. So I don't care what everybody talk about. Like, to get up and still do that, like, that is just, to me, it's still one of like, damn, but it's still like one of like, that's how he went out. Like, he still went and shot that. And then, of course, you know, his last game. And like, so for me, you know, of course, being a Laker fan, it's just like who's influenced me the most. And like, I mean, you can pick, everybody's gonna pick the Brons, the Jordans. I like the Bill Russell pick. I do like, because I don't think Bill gets enough credit. I don't agree with there's not enough to see Bill Russell because we have YouTube and things, but hey, maybe they're making that footage up. I don't know. I don't really care. He ain't Kobe. So, but like, to me, it is like, I think it's Simba the MC, but he has a line in his song "The GOAT." He said, "Ain't nobody the GOAT because they are the GOAT." I've learned to just appreciate it for what it's worth, because in a way they all made us appreciate the game of basketball. Now there's some dudes who just don't appreciate it like it needs to be appreciated, and that's just how I feel. But like, for me, my GOAT will always be Kobe Bryant. And it's not because he's died. It's not because anything. It's because that's who he was, man. Like, you knew Kobe wasn't gonna cheat you. You knew Kobe was going to give you everything you got. And you can't say that about a lot of these dudes now. And you can't say that about the state of the game. You know, as the mayor, he out there coaching kids and doing their thing. You know, it's a lot of people who cheat this game. And you know what I'm saying? And when you look at it, I applaud that. My honorable mentions, like, as it, if we're just going to throw names out there, I'm going to go Tim Duncan. And even though I'm more of a KG person, I just respect it. I had to learn to respect Tim Duncan. Like, because Tim Duncan probably somewhere swimming, giving two shits we have in this conversation, because he did what he had to do. And you know what I'm saying? And like, I think as I've gotten older, I just learned to respect that. Like, people who, from my generation, has given me what they had, and now you see the game being cheated so much. So for that point, that's the ultimate goal for me. And I respect it. I learned to respect MJ more because of that too. Because you know what I'm saying? Now, as far as like having LeBron, I got a love-hate relationship with LeBron. I don't try to hate on Bron because he got that jersey on. catch me when he retired. I might have some things to say because I don't like to try to bash Lakers too hard, but like I appreciate what he's done because the NBA is always going to need whoever is the greatest for people to love that person and hate that person. Because I do remember how Jordan was hated. I remember how I couldn't stand Jordan, but I used to watch him when he went to go play them Knicks, and I watched him when he played Utah. And I mean, it was just spectacular to see. But I do remember Jordan in Washington, and that wasn't that spectacular. So but he was older then, so you can't like hold that to him. And like I said, Bill Russell, that's just a whole another topic in itself. And like for me, when I just came back from Boston like a couple of months ago, and worst city in America, but like being out there, I probably shouldn't say that because they're gonna get mad at me. But like for me, being out there with the black people who love Bill Russell, and I happened to be there when they were playing Atlanta in that series this year. And I ain't gonna lie, man, my wife took everything in me not to want to root because I went to Bill Russell's old bar spot and like everybody was cheering for him. The cheering for the Celtics and stuff like that, but you see like how they love Bill Russell up in that mud. Like it's like Boston. And when I say worst city, it's just because the people. But the other side of it, like it's one of the best sports cities I've been to because they love their team. And like I think I miss that with sports. And when I think about those moments, Kobe gave me that. So that's why Kobe's my GOAT.
Okay.
It's your turn, Amrock.
What's the deal, Amrock?
What's good, black people? What's good? Look, whoever's your GOAT, I don't think we should be like whoever's your pick is your pick. Everybody's like, oh, let me, this person ain't. Like whoever's your pick is your pick. My pick as the GOAT is Jordan. But the one player who constantly gets overlooked as being the GOAT is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor. Who, his accomplishments measure up to anybody that we just mentioned on this list. 6 MVPs, 6 titles, a couple finals MVPs. He was the all-time leading scorer until Bron passed him. So I think he constantly gets overlooked in that conversation. I've heard Tim Duncan. Yes, he constantly gets overlooked in that conversation. But I would have to say my GOAT is MJ. Just what he did for the culture of the game, his dominance during the 90s, which was the toughest era to play in. How he had to overcome certain teams. People forget it took him 7 years to get it done, and he had to overcome some obstacles. But all these guys that we mentioned are all-time great players, and any one of these guys could be your favorite player, could be your GOAT. Let's shout out these guys for actually being in this damn conversation in the first place. There's a lot of players that we didn't even mention. So to even be mentioned in this conversation, you're one of the top 10 or 15 or 20 players of all time. That's, that has to be awesome when there's, over thousands of players who have played this game. So just to always constantly narrow it down to one is always tough. But I'll have to say MJ for me. But one guy who definitely gets overlooked is Kareem. Absolutely.
You right, Amrock. D Rose. Okay, I threw his name out there.
I will have to go with Kareem myself. Even though he is a Laker and I'm an avid Laker hater, and I hate that 3 of the 5 people that I would put on the top 5 all put on that Laker jersey. I fucking hate it, but it is what it is, man. The Lakers somehow, did they draft any of these players? No, they did not. Well, the Magic, but he ain't on my list. He on Alvin's. But I'll have to say Kareem too. I mean, especially with him being the leading scorer, those 6 championships, with his defensive accolades. I think that he just has, 6 championships just like Jordan. But, he did it in a different way. And especially being a scoring champ and the efficiency and that sky hook, you know what I'm saying? I think that he was just a game changer that a lot of people overlook. And I really think that he should be talked about more in the GOAT conversation. So I have to go back with Amrock with that one. Kareem. is my GOAT. Well, let's get to this other NBA topic. So, have y'all seen?
Can I throw something out there real quick? One
Hold
thing?
on.
If it's cool,
Come on,
it
go
was
ahead.
me. I was going to kind of piggyback off of what Amrock said by saying this, like a debate that I would like us to start talking about, people just in general, is like take all the GOATs that we name off. Let's bring the injury people in there. Are the people who didn't win championship? That's the debate.
D
That's
Rose.
when
D Rose is the greatest injured player
like,
ever.
Give me
Debate
those
me.
people. Like, there was no injury.
What about Grant Hill?
That's what I'm saying. Like, think
Grant Hill
about those.
can't see D Rose. Grant Hill can't see D Rose.
That's the one I want to start hearing. I want to hear
Grant Hill
those
can't see
debates.
D Rose.
Grant Hill.
Yeah.
I'm going with Grant.
Grant Hill drinks
can't-
Sprite, bro.
So he can't see D Rose. Grant Hill ain't seeing D Rose. Grant Hill ain't seeing D Rose. Still the youngest MVP in the league. Don't play with my boy. Don't put. You better say like Brandon Roy. You better put Brandon Roy. Playing with my boy D Rose.
I hear you,
T-Mac.
Frank.
Oh, we gotta move on with it, man. Let's
Yeah, my bad,
get to, we gotta move on. But let's get to this NBA, man. So of course, Jordan Poole has been traded to the Washington Wizards for Chris Paul. And now he unfollowed Draymond Green on all social media, and they no longer have to act like they like each other. So now Draymond Green goes on Patrick Beverley's podcast talking about when he punched him out. And Jordan Poole's father responds on Twitter stating that his son ain't like that, but he is, and that Draymond Green is a bitch, and that he wants to fade with him. And then Kevin Garnett, the big ticket, he chimes in and is talking shit to Draymond Green, talking about, Draymond, you ain't like that. And Draymond immediately fires back at KG, talking about, I was like that when I was I was playing against you my rookie year, and you was talking to yourself, but you wouldn't say shit to me.
Oh,
So Draymond is talking shit to KG. He talking shit to Jordan Poole dad. He on podcast talking shit. What's your thoughts on this Draymond Green, Jordan Poole drama now that they're no longer teammates?
I definitely want to go first with this one. All right. So this is interesting because when did this happen? This happened almost a year ago. Before last season started, we all seen the video. Jordan Poole feeling himself, talking that shit, and Draymond just out of nowhere just banking, boom, fold him. Ah! He folds. He literally folds. And so, according to reports from the Steph Currys, the Klay Thompsons, and other people in the organization, they say Jordan Poole was getting on everybody's nerves. He had won a champion. I mean, I feel Jordan Poole. He had won a championship. He really wasn't a prospect. Anybody was looking at him. He came out of nowhere and averaged 20 points with the Warriors, helped him win the championship. He got his bag. He's feeling himself. So I feel that, but at the same time, when you're feeling yourself, you got to know that it's others around you, haters, which I call Draymond Green, that ain't going to like that shit. Draymond Green is 6'8", 240 pounds. Jordan Poole is 6'2", 190 pounds. You feel me? Like, I know size don't mean everything, but at the same time, it does in some cases. In physical contact, like boxing. Why do you think welterweights don't fight heavyweights? Because size matters. Why do you think Sugar Ray Leonard never fought Muhammad Ali? Size matters. I know it's different eras. So Sugar Ray never fought Mike Tyson. Size matters. So for him to do that to his teammate, all of a sudden, to hit him like that, that was some punk shit. No. Draymond, do I know Draymond personally? I don't know. I can't say if he's like that or not. But Draymond, he ain't never been scared on the court. He talks shit. He talks shit to people. He does some dirty shit to people, which could cause you to get your ass whooped. He's loud. He's aggressive. I can't say Draymond's a bitch. Like he ain't got no heart. But as far as Jordan Poole's father and Kevin Garnett, nigga, you wait a whole year later to say you want the fade. Don't, you know what I'm saying? Don't act like you ain't ran into this man or you ain't got access to this man for the whole last year. All of a sudden, you want to go out there and say that you want his fade a year later. If you don't sit your old ass down, what are you talking about? And your son is a grown ass man. Like, your son is a grown ass man. He took a punching. He got to get up and get that himself. You making your son look like a bitch. So sit your ass down, Mr. Poole. You don't need to be trying to fight no Draymond Green because he probably gonna fold your ass too. So let's get Kevin Garnett real quick. I know we got everybody else got to go. Kevin Garnett. Kevin Garnett. I fuck with Kevin Garnett, but let's keep it real. Kevin Garnett ain't nothing but a loud mouth motherfucker. I seen Kevin Garnett get elbowed in the mouth by Anthony Peeler, little ass, and he didn't do shit. Y'all remember the clip when Anthony Peeler was in Sacramento? He elbowed Kevin Garnett all in his chops. Kevin Garnett did this, and he didn't do a damn thing. So Kevin Garnett, shut the fuck up. How you gonna sit up here and tell Draymond Green he ain't like that? Nigga, you ain't like that. So your ass about this conversation because Green is right. Kevin Garnett did a lot of this. You can see he always talk. But it looked like he be talking to himself with certain players. Certain players, he talked to himself. Like Kobe, him and Kobe got along, but Kobe said that Kevin Garnett never talked shit to him, and they've been in 2 finals against each other. How do you never talk shit to a person that you've been in 2 finals against? So Kevin Garnett, you ain't like that. I think you need to stay. I don't think none of these guys is like that. Kevin Garnett ain't like that. Draymond, you sucker punch Poole, you a bitch. And Poole's father, you need to get off that nigga head because he's old as fuck and he waited a whole year later to talk about you on the stage.
Dang.
Straight up.
Yo.
Straight up.
Hey yo, I'm just saying like this. I'm a father of 2. Nigga, you can catch my fade too. You can catch my fade too. Like, I don't care. Like, you catch my face and knock my son out. Nigga, you catching my fade too. You going through the whole family. Matter of fact, I'm calling up Devontae and being like, nigga, we about to knock this nigga out. Oh, you gonna come down, bro. We about to knock this nigga. Like, green light, knock this nigga out. Like, I waited a year. Listen, I waited a year. Ronnie, I waited a year because I didn't want to mess up my son's back. Now that that nigga gone, now that nigga gone, it's on site. It is on. Now I can say what I want. Matter of fact, before I even said what I want, I went to Washington and asked them, could I say what I want before I won't mess up my son's back? Washington gave me the green light and told me, hey, listen, this ain't nobody coming to our, like, we barely got Kuzma. Like, ain't nobody coming to our team. We lost Porzingis. Hey, do what you got to do so we can get some fan base. Okay, cool. Hey, Green, on site. You going to see me. Now, going to Draymond Green. Was it a sucker punch? I don't know, because nobody really knows what Jordan was saying. Like, he walked up to, like, nobody knows what Jordan was saying, right? Because when you look at the clip, when you look at the clip, Draymond wasn't close to him. Draymond walked up on him. Now, as a daddy, going back to daddy, yes, I would catch Draymond's fade, but then I would also look at my son. I would look at my son and say, son, if you see a man, a grown-ass man walking up on you, little red light, like little trigger should be going off in your head, like, yeah, something's about to go down, right? So you said something, Jordan. He walked over to you. No red light goes off in your head. Nothing's like warning, right? He's right there in your face, and you pushed him. You probably thought he was going to push you back. Well, he said, no, I ain't pushing you back. I'm knocking your lights out. Night, nigga. Night. You out. So, was it a sucker punch? No, it wasn't. Technically, Poole put his hands on his phone and put his hands on him first. And what, as parents, what do we tell our kids? If somebody puts their hands on you, you put your hands on them. And he put his hands on him, and he gave Jordan the NyQuil, night, have a good day medicine, and he was knocked out. On the last note of this is you knew there was trouble brewing up because why would you trade? Like, come on, let's all act like we owners here, right? Why would you trade CP3, injury prone? When's the last time you seen CP3 in the playoffs?
Getting hurt
CP3
with the same hamstring.
Right?
The same
Let's go through.
hamstring.
Let's go through CP3 right quick. He played with. Sorry, Caleb. He played with the Clippers. Did nothing for y'all. They
Hamstring.
vetoed the only time he was good. They vetoed the trade, and I guess this kind of makes Kobe the greatest, right? Going back to the old conversation. I mean, how many other players get a trade vetoed so that you won't dominate the league more, right? So that's CP3. CP3 is not the same CP3. You trade one of your star players that helped you get that last championship for CP3, that means the organization was done with you. So not only did you get knocked out by Draymond, you got knocked out by the Warriors organization, and they sent you to the Wizards where you ain't gonna do nothing. They don't got Bradley Beal. All they got is Kuz.
Mm-hmm. He fell out rotation in the playoffs. So once he wasn't in the rotation, then you already knew that it's the end of him. And then Chris Paul, he blew a hamstring with the Clippers. Then he went to the Rockets, and they were getting ready to beat the Warriors, and he blew a hamstring with the Rockets. And then the Suns were number one picks. They had to, and then guess what? Blew a hamstring again, and this is 10 years ago. So what you think he's gonna do for you now?
All that State Farm insurance still can't get that hamstring fixed. All that insurance, man. I'm gonna say this real quick. Oh, my bad. No, I was gonna say.
No, go ahead.
It's a quote that says, "He who angers you conquers you," and I don't know which side it falls on because it's interesting to me, the whole thing. I think the latest Draymond debacle, it just adds to Draymond stuff because Draymond's doing what we expect Draymond to do. And I personally think Jordan Poole's like whatever with it, because I would be too if there's a highlight reel of me getting like hit like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like every time we talk about the situation, we talk about Draymond, but everybody say like the one like we doing, oh, Jordan Poole got knocked out. Like he really he knocked his ass out. And you know what I'm saying? So it's kind of like, hey, can we not bring it up no more? And then Daddy want to step in. And I mean, I don't know. For all we know, he step in, he gonna end up like CP3 and hurt his hamstring too. We don't know what's gonna happen with that. So I just think ultimately, I think it's just a funny situation. Now the Kevin Garnett, that's new to me. I think that's interesting. And I was gonna have KG back until the facts been brought up, because like, you know what, he right though. Because even when that Melo situation, I didn't see KG with that. Remember when he ain't got with Melo, he was gone. He disappeared. He wasn't with it. So I was like, he got a point. But I do remember, and please correct me if I'm wrong. I think hold on.
You talking about the Melo when he said "Lala tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios"?
Yes. Yeah. When he brought up the situation with Anthony Peeler, I was like, oh, I forgot about that. Because I rock when we was back on the GOATs. I was gonna say KG, but I was like, nah, I'm gonna do Tim because KG, he talk a lot, but he only got that one versus Tim. And it was like, and then when you brought that situation up, I was like, yo, it made me think about the Melo one. And I was like, that was the one right there. I was like, bro, you do all that talking, bro. But my biggest thing I would say with Jordan Poole, I think it was Dame Lillard recently who said something about why he don't like Jordan Poole because he do all that talking. So I think it is right. Like Jordan Poole had to say something pretty slick to get hit, because that wasn't no normal hit. That's like we talking, we debating, arguing, whatever. That's like, nah, you said something to like get hit. Like you said something, and you know, I tell my son, I said, if you say something like the other side of it, yeah, don't start no shit, won't be no shit. But if you say some shit and you get hit, yeah, like you gotta own that one. So
Zaza never talked to him like that. Zaza never talked to him like that.
But that's just my 2 cents. Go ahead, Mayor.
I laughed at the fact that, you know, the money was more important than the pride, right? Because he got punched in the face. He went viral, right? Off the championship season. He had the worst season that he's had probably since he's been with the Golden State Warriors. But a lot of people didn't talk about it because during the regular season, he had good, you know, he had a lot of positive clips. You know what I mean? He shoots some dumb shots like the one he did in the playoffs where Clay and Steph both look at each other like, what are you thinking? That's our shot. That's not your shot. But what I noticed was that he never really got that third Splash Brother respect like Kevin Durant low-key got. I mean, I'm not saying that Jordan Poole and Kevin Durant are the same player, but when you think about what Jordan Poole's potential really was within that system, and the fact that he was an additional player that he was shifty like Steph, but had a persistent catch and shoot like Clay, but then his defense wasn't bad. Like let's not pretend like he wasn't an elite defender. So to me, he was going to keep Clay and Steph young. You know what I mean? He was going to keep that system going the way that it was going. But just like everybody's saying, whatever he said, it wasn't just like a Kevin Garnett type of a rant or rave. It's basketball. When you talking basketball, as long as you ain't talking about nobody mama, you know what I'm saying? Everything's fair game. You talk about, hairlines, you talk about weight, you talk about everything when it comes to ball, anything to get a mental edge, right? So if Kevin Garnett did what he did with Melo, talking about Lala tastes like Honey Nut Cheerios, Melo went off because Melo went off that game, right? When Melo went off that game, then waited outside. I guarantee you behind the scenes, he hit him on that, hey, youngin, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's basketball, baby. I wasn't even coming at you like that. My bad. And it's never gotten brought up, never got brought up again. Like, as much as Melo's been in conversations, you haven't heard that brought up. You know what I'm saying? Even thinking about, him and Lala's son being as old as he is, and mom's taking some thirsty pictures because of everything she's doing, because of who she is. You don't hear about none of that anymore, right? So I think, just like y'all said, Jordan Poole's dad couldn't say anything because he didn't know what was to come, so he couldn't really intervene like a dad really would. But no disrespect, he's a grown man. He shouldn't have to stand up and fight his son's battles. Like, he probably got a Lambo in the house anyway off of this whole entire thing, so he should have been sitting back going, hey, check yourself. We don't have time for this shenanigans. We got a lot of things riding on your success. Not saying that you're the cash cow of the family, but at least you're setting an example for the rest of your siblings, as I drop a fork, rest of your siblings or rest of your family or whatnot. Then where's his brand now? He's not going to have anything. Like, it was a pool party. Splash Brothers, pool party. It all kind of was working itself out. Now what are you going to do? His face looks bad in his media day picture, or just a new trade picture. Like, he doesn't look like he even really wants to play ball like that anymore. He's going to end up being another one of those players that gets a big check and ends up overseas, because nobody's going to tolerate his mouth. If you're talking mess and you're good, but you can't stay consistent, who are you really? And I'm not trying to like throw anybody like under the bus or anything like that. I don't have a player lined up. But I'm just saying, like, in retrospect, this is the NBA. There's 400 spots. Like, you can get up out of here if you can't produce. So
That's true.
He got a
He
man
can
up.
get a Hawaiian punch. He can get a Hawaiian punch. Deal.
Oh, wow. Wow.
The green Hawaiian punch.
What's the deal, Amrock? What you got?
Yeah, I'll say this. Listen, I don't, none of us play in the league, right? So to hear, sometimes to hear this player ain't about that life. We don't know these dudes, man. We don't know their background. We don't know their story. We don't know where they come from. Obviously, again, we don't know what Jordan Poole said to set Draymond off, but Draymond clearly showed in that video, like, yo, I didn't like what you said, and I'm gonna punch the shit out you. And that's exactly what happened. Do we see that most of the time, other than being on the court, guys getting in the fight? No, we barely see behind the scenes what really goes on. And when that came out, a lot of guys said that shit happens a lot of times in practice. Y'all don't even see the real fights and arguments that go down. That shit happens in the back, in the locker room, or during practice. That shit don't happen on the game. And that's what we see. We see what happens on the game. We see, y'all brought up Kevin Garnett. We see him talking in people's ears and this and that. And one guy may throw a little something and another guy may push somebody. We don't see the real shit. So again, we don't really know what Jordan Poole said. We don't know what type of person he was in that locker room that ultimately, it seems like, made Draymond just snap at that point, right? Again, we don't know what he said. As far as Jordan Poole's pops, like, listen, again, like pretty much everybody's still on here. Jordan Poole is a grown ass man. He was a grown ass man to say whatever the hell he said. So stand on whatever you said. You got rocked. Let's keep it moving. Golden State traded you and kept Draymond. So what does that say about your contribution to that team? Obviously, Draymond was more valuable than you. And so they let you go for, like y'all said, for basically a crippled CP3. Like what is your value to us? They clearly said you have no value. See you go play with Kuz in the backyard in DC, and and be on your way. But Pops, like all of that nonsense. A lot of NBA players or whatever, they always want to step in. I mean, parents, excuse me, NBA players always want to step in and defend. Again, these are grown ass men now. And whatever they say on the court, whatever they say behind the scenes, whatever they say to the news, they have to stand on that. Period. And again, I always go back to, we don't know what the hell Jordan Poole said, but Draymond clearly said when he spoke earlier, I don't just punch people for no reason. Obviously, there was something that was said. And again, we don't know these players. We don't know if somebody, may say something to Steph Curry and he snaps at somebody. Will we think that Steph Curry is about their life just looking at him? Probably not. But when you're pushed to that limit, anybody could be about anything. You don't know what anybody is capable of. So, for us to say, I mean, that's, I don't know. I don't buy that. I think, again, we don't really know what's being said or what's being going on really behind the scenes. And again, all the real shit we do not see. We hardly hear about. Again, we heard about Carmelo waiting for KG outside, but again, like, we don't know what transpired after that. We don't know if they fought. We don't know what went down. Like Mayor's point, KG could have been like, my bad, dog. It was just on the court, boom, boom. But on the court, we see him angry and this and that, and we think he's about that life. We don't really know. So we don't really know, about like Draymond and all them either. Like, again, he was obviously pushed based on what Jordan Poole said, which was obviously something that crossed the line, and Draymond snapped, and Jordan Poole got what he got.
Hey, you don't see Zion's people coming from Mariah Mills. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, I know we got to move on, Ken. Let me say one thing about this before we move on. Why are we sitting up here acting like Draymond don't got a track record? What do y'all mean what Jordan Poole said? Draymond been kicking niggas in the nuts, been socking niggas in the nuts.
Yeah,
Draymond
but that's during the
He's dirty.
That's during the game.
But that's in the game as an entertainment.
Like
But that's in the
Draymond.
game as an entertainment.
It doesn't matter. He's still a dirty guy. Like he does snap. You kicking niggas
Honestly,
in the nuts, bro.
But look, but you gotta think. But look, but he's under contract, right? He has a code of conduct that he has to adhere to. When he does those type of things, he gets fined. So he's the Rodman for Golden State, so that nobody else has it. Like, how much shit
Rodman
talk
wasn't
Steph.
kicking niggas in
No.
the nuts.
Yes, he did. He kicked the cameraman in the nuts.
Not a player. He didn't kick no player.
Wait. Did you watch what he did to Karl Malone?
He was fucking with Karl Malone. He didn't kick him in the nuts.
Bro.
It was Draymond level.
He literally would stop. He would stop in front of Karl Malone and make Karl Malone run him over and fall. And then when he fall over him, he'd trip him as he tried to get up to make him. He would antagonize him to make Karl Malone get out of character. Draymond Green to me, but Draymond Green's just a genius behind this shit. He's Gary Payton with size. I'm sorry.
We gotta move on though, but I do want to say one thing about the whole thing. It would be Patrick Beverly podcast that he talking this shit on, because we talking about dirty player. He's the dirtiest player ever, man.
Right.
I love Pat Bev though. He's a pit bull. He's one of my favorite of all times, man.
Facts.
But that's hilarious. But let's get to this NFL news real fast, man. So, the running backs have been on a downward spiral. They're no longer paying running backs. We got like Ezekiel Elliott, Dalvin Cook out there still looking for a team. We got Saqoun Barkley, Travis Henry from the Titans. Some of the best running backs are getting franchise tagged. Everybody else in the league is going up, but the average salary for running backs is down $1 million. So the running backs in the NFL are trending downwards as far as investments, while everybody else in the league is trending upward, including kickers and punters. What are y'all thoughts about them not paying running backs no more? And what is that going to do to the future of the league?
They're not paying running backs because they're starting to look at the fact that this new or the new slavery is almost at its end. We can't just expect these running backs to last, 4 to 5 years like they have been in the past, get this crazy amount of money and just disappear. Marshawn Lynch ruined it for everybody. No disrespect to Beast Mode because I really like him, but he was the last big running back that you saw get the big check, do what he do, bounce, and then get asked to come back because of how talented he was. Now everybody's trying to hold out for a bigger bag and it's not coming. So you either have to, accept what's given to you or go to the Rock's XFL. It's not that type of league anymore. It's all about the quarterbacks. And since Brady's gone, you better get in that light-skinned Patrick Mahomes bag or sit back and be a role player.
I mean, the running back position has never had a long lifespan. It's always a 4 to 5 year on average. Obviously, we have the Emmitt Smiths who lasted, 12, 13 years or something like that. And I think Barry Sanders played, 8, 9 seasons, and he retired, considered was early retirement for him. It's a physical game. So it's hard to really, you don't see running backs really lasting like that, like a long time. Like Adrian Peterson was booming for 3, 4, 5 years, and that's it. You don't see running backs lasting, hanging around like that. They take a lot of punishment, man. They take a lot of punishment. They take a lot of hits. They're cutting a lot, twisting a lot, spinning. Their joints and knees and tendons got to be on fire and wearing down faster than the average players, especially quarterback. You see quarterbacks, Brady is 60 and he's still playing? Like, you could play quarterback for a long time. That's the reason why you can give quarterback that bag, because that position, you can play 15, 20 years as a quarterback. It's several guys that are doing it and that have done it. Aaron Rodgers, I feel Aaron Rodgers has been playing since I was a kid. So, it's these guys, running backs are not lasting as long as they used to. And then the position has never been a real long, the position has never had a long career at hand. So it's hard for them to really, really, give them this bag under the NFL rules. So I think NFL was bullshit in some ways, but under their current rules, it's hard to really give, these young running backs a bag because you really don't know how long they're going to last. One little hit or one twist or one turn or one freak injury, and this guy is gone. And I know a lot of the money's not guaranteed, but under the new rules, they're getting more guaranteed money. So why would you give guaranteed money to a player that you don't know is going to be around in 2 years? So it's unfortunate, and I'm always going to side with the players against the dirty-ass NFL, but just going by their rules, the running back position is just too it has a high turnover rate at this point. So I think that's the reason why.
Yeah,
both.
Go ahead. No, go ahead. I'll take the last one. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I was going to say both can be true, right? Obviously, we all know about the NFL and how shady they are, especially towards their players. But listen, every position on football is such a violent sport, man. Every position matters. I don't. Everybody sits here and says the quarterback. The quarterback is for the show. The quarterback brings the money. Everybody wants to see Mahomes throw it deep down the field when he had Tyreek Hill and all those splashy plays. People want to see that, right? That's makes for TV. But what really wins the games, right? And that's defense and running out the clock. And what do you need? A running back for that. The running backs, they take a lot of the pressure off of the quarterback to then drop back and make those stellar plays, right? And so just how everything is set up, it's set up for the running back to come out of college at age 20, 21, 22. That is the height of, their career over the next 4 years after they come out of the league, right? That's when most of these running backs make their name. That's when a lot of these running backs made their name, right? And then a few still remain hot, like the Adrian Petersons of the world, to then get that big bag up until probably age 29 or 30. And so, somebody like a Saqoun Barkley, his value to the Giants is way more important than a Daniel Jones, right? So he has a right to be upset. But again, it goes back to the league, right? And how just unfortunately they can, the analytics and all the numbers and the stats show that, we can get what we need out of these running backs between that 4-year gap pretty much on their rookie deals. So there has to be something within the CBA, which won't be renegotiated until 2030. But there has to be something put in place where, especially for running backs, since this is the big controversy, right? There has to be something in place where these guys get their bag earlier than aged probably 24 or 25 when they're expected to get that next big contract. Because clearly, as running backs see, these NFL owners and teams are just using them during that time span. And so, but both can be true. It sucks for the players. It definitely sucks for running backs, especially somebody like Saqoun Barkley or who's a running back out of the Raiders. Like
Josh Jacobs.
Like those running backs, or when Adrian Peterson played, or Marshawn, like they were valuable. Period. Yep. Right. The quarterback was for the, is again to bring in the tickets, to bring in the, to bring in the money. And so, like it sucks for the running backs. They have a right to speak up, but nothing is going to change unless you start legally, right? That's what white people love to do, right? Put shit in law. Okay. That's what has to happen. You have to put that, especially the NFL Players Association, they have to attack this more, especially during the next negotiations of the CBA. But again, that's now 7 years from now. I mean, there's like a lot of shit is, it's going to affect the running backs, from now until then. That sucks for them. That truly sucks. That truly sucks for them. But again, with the numbers, these NFL owners and teams, they're using that to their advantage. Like I saw a stat where all of the running backs on all of the Super Bowl teams were making like less than $1 million. They were still on their rookie deals. That's tough. That's tough to, when this is a business and dollars and money matters, that's tough. That's tough. But it sucks for the running backs. Absolutely sucks.
You gotta I 100% agree with what he said and what everybody's been saying so far. Amrock's right on it, because I think it was like 2-3 years ago, there was a Washington Post article talking about they don't need new contracts, they need a new CBA. So the fact that, he even brought that up, that's what it is ultimately. And, we all, I mean, just work a regular job and you're a regular job, we all fight for our money in some way, shape, or form. And it doesn't matter who you are. I think, not saying nothing no different, I feel like, than everybody else, is just that, like, I feel like a lot of times, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I feel like a lot of times right now we're in this quarterback era, but a lot of the quarterbacks we were putting on pedestals, some of their running backs are really who run that team, and they're just don't, like we saying, they don't get that credit. So you make this quarterback, because Daniel Jones is probably the best narrative to run with. Oh, he's our face, he's our franchise, but it really wasn't. Like, it was Saqoun, and that's why. I mean, at least when I thought the Giants, I was thinking Saqoun Barkley, but like, and I think when you start looking down to it, it's like it's a sucky situation, because if these running backs choose to sit out or whatever, there's 4 or 5 guys who just want to be in the league who will come just to try out and be in there, and you can just rotate them out. So I do agree. I think that's the strongest point. The CBA is just where it has to be fought, because it's like, go get your money, man. Like, don't let these dudes get no more out of you. And it sucks, because I feel like when it comes to the running back position, if they can do it there, they'll start finding a way. Okay, well, you won't touch the wide receivers because the quarterback, but you'll find a way to start touching other positions, and you just got to find a way to fight for your money and fight against this. But it really is going to have to start with that CBA, because they're not looking at what those short yardage situations start coming up. Okay, let Daniel Jones run it then. Those you need somebody versatile in the passing game. Let Daniel Jones throw it and catch it to himself, and that's just what it is. So I love the fact that it was brought up the CBA, because that, from an HR standpoint, because that's me, it has to be fought in the contract. You have to fight it from a legal standpoint, and so go get your money. That's what I like to say.
I got to chime in. One thing I want to say is that the NFL is the only league that ever used replacement players. The NFL is going to keep going, and there's going to be somebody that's willing to cross that picket line for that opportunity, and they're going to put a product on the field regardless of what the scenario is. So the fact that they've already had replacement players play in the past when players want to strike, I don't see an answer to this. You're going to come in, you better try to get you some endorsement money, or you better try to get you that NIL deal before you even get to the league and get your money a different ways. You got to have a different approach if you're choosing to play running back. Now you're going to have to be like a Christian McCaffrey. Ain't no more pure running backs coming out no more. Just like ain't no big man, you got to be able to shoot a 3-point shot. Now as a running back, you got to be able to still line up as a receiver. You got to have to be able to catch out of the backfield. You coming in as a traditional running back, and that's the problem, is that Saqoun Barkley is exactly that. He's one of the best in the last 10 years of catching the ball out of the backfield, and he can't get a check. So if he can't get a check, I don't know who could get a check for the running back position.
Crazy.
What you got, y'all?
Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about running backs, we have to talk about. I think I have it the hardest on this panel when it comes to running backs, and like how the panel's been saying is, it's all about the quarterback. It's all about the quarterback. Let's take it for what it is. The Seahawks are on like the 1 yard line. Who was the one that got you to that 1 yard line? It was Beast Mode. You threw the ball to him. He was breaking through tackles. He got you all the way down to the 1 yard line. And what did you decide to do on the 1 yard line? Just like Devontae said, he says, well, why won't the quarterback run it in? No, my Seahawks decided.
No, let them know who it was for real. Let them know. Pete Carroll.
Pete Carroll decided to go to his franchise, quarterback at the time, and they decided to throw the ball on the 1 yard line, where you have one of the greatest running backs of all times. You telling me he could not get, and you had what, three downs to do it, and you threw the ball. And I was in Seattle when that happened, and it was very horrible experience. So running backs don't get the credit that they should. Beast Mode said it. I mean, they wanted to make Russell Wilson the star quarterback, and they did that, right? And once Beast Mode was gone, how many championships did Russell Wilson get to? When Russell Wilson got kicked out of Seattle in last year, how good was the season in Denver? So yes, they want to put the quarterback up there, and they don't want to pay the running back. Now, we also have to remember, ladies and gentlemen, the NFL is a non-profit. Don't forget about that. I always want to throw that out there. NFL is a non-profit.
Yes, it is.
It is a non-profit. And with that being said, I think what they're doing to the running backs is the same thing. I call it the Derrick Rose rule. Remember, my boy Derrick Rose got a healthy, a fat bag from Adidas. I mean, he's still getting paid from Adidas. A lifetime contract with Adidas. Once my boy signed that contract, he only played like a year after that, and he was injury prone. So that's what they probably taking into consideration. Hey, this position doesn't last long. Why am I going to pay you like that? But y'all need to pay those men, because it's all about, the game of football is all about inches. The game of football is like sex, ladies and gentlemen. It's all about inches.
Yeah, man. The AMROC put it the best, though, man. 7 years before the CBA. And even if they want to go to strike, they're going to put some replacement players out there. And with all the XFL players, especially a development league like the XFL, like Devontae brought up, it's a whole nother league developing players for you, just in case these niggas that's on the field don't want to take this bag. I'm pretty sure that bag is substantially more than what they get in the XFL, and they taking that same beating and going through that same regiment for that bag, they definitely come over to the NFL and do it. So, if as a father and as a parent, if you're gonna put your kids in football, don't let them play running back, man. Say fuck running back.
Go get that baseball money or that soccer money.
Let's talk about it.
Make
Go
him
get
a
that
kicker.
soccer money.
And go to tennis. Go to tennis.
Get that tennis money.
For real. But
Swingers.
let's get to this hip hop news, man. So Tupac was murdered in 1996, and now they search a home in relation to his killing in 2023. What the fuck kind of evidence you think you're gonna find in 2023 that you couldn't find in 1996? Have y'all looked into this? What's your thoughts on them finally trying to solve Tupac's murder?
The evidence that everybody know that they know who killed Tupac. Like it's like it's like it gets so. Oh, I love hip hop. As an MC, I've been performing since 7 years old. Like that's what I do. I started my own company. I love that industry. And when you look at one of the saddest, like in our culture, like just one of the saddest times, like living in California when Tupac died, I can only now being in Tulsa try to compare it to when Kobe died. You know what I'm saying? And like just the solemnness. I remember how quiet Cali was. But the thing that I heard since I was young, it's not like y'all don't know who killed Tupac. And I hate these little things like that because for his hardcore fan base, like I think it deserves some closure. And it's just like, you ever seen I think it's a Geico commercial. You ever seen that commercial where the guy's like, oh, get the dollar. I feel like every 15 years there's Tupac news, but we keep making documentaries, doing all this stuff. And I'm like, and the same thing with Big. And I hate it. And it's like, I love it for trying to keep their legacy, but their legacy is so much more than their death. And I know I get it, but like to me, this right here, it's just another sickening fact. And I'm like, yo, y'all know who killed him. We know y'all know who killed him. And all conspiracies there. Either he dead, not dead, however you want to say it. But like, yo, just end it. Like now you search a house in Vegas that you just, new evidence. You telling me my phone tracks me, but you just now got new evidence on Tupac. You telling me like, it's just like so far-fetched on the stuff that they know. Like, and it's just the same. It's just BS to me. That's just it. Like I just, from a hip hop standpoint, it's sad. It's BS, and I just think it's an issue that needs to be resolved. I think it needs to be just put to bed, and I would like to see in my lifetime. But it's one of those things. Like even if they say Jon Snow killed Tupac, you know what I'm saying? You're like, nah, it was Suge. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been that long. And I think they want to carry the I don't know the right wording for it, but like just the, I guess the legend, not even legend, just like the story or the just keep it going. And it's just it's just sad at this point. So I'm just like, put that shit to bed, man. Like I hate the story. I just think that his family deserves some kind of resolve with that. And it's sickening. Like, you know what I'm saying? How do you not know? I ain't gonna even say that because I ain't gonna put that out like that. But I'll say it this way: they finding 40-year-old evidence to convict other people, but we don't know who killed Tupac yet. Just you know what I'm saying? That's all. I'll leave it at that.
And then you got rappers like Glasses Malone. I don't know if you guys seen that Glasses Malone song and video, but I guess the person that allegedly got stomped out by Tupac, and in the video that we all seen in the casino, it was a dude from Glasses Malone hood. So this is the hood story of what happened. And he got a whole song and video where they reenact the whole shit. And he's talking about basically dry snitching, saying that the nigga from his hood that stomped him out was the one. So if y'all ain't looked at that, go look at that Glasses Malone song and video on YouTube, and you'll see what they say, what he's saying happened to Tupac.
So if that happens, then you get in all these other brothers on RICO cases for lyrics. Why aren't y'all looking into that dude? No? Okay, whatever. But it just doesn't make, man. It goes back to like how the famous homie said earlier about Bill Russell, and I was like, damn, that's kind of right. But it's the same thing. Like we were able to get Nipsey's Killer because we in the time of cell phones. There's a camera everywhere. We being watched when we poop. Like you being watched everywhere. Back then they didn't have no cameras like that or whatever. Like, so we ain't never gonna know. They're gonna keep bringing up the ghost just to bring it up. They can't find him. They can't find nothing. They can find everything else. They can put drones in your house. They can. I know the next topic is about using your voice, right? And we're talking about somebody using Trump's voice. You can do artificial intelligence for somebody else's voice. You can do freaking. You're using what is it? Ancestry to pull up killers, and it was their cousin that did the ancestry. Like it would be like my cousin or somebody freaking doing ancestry, and then you go find some killer 20 years ago in the family or whatever the case may be. Like y'all can do all that. Y'all got all that technology, and now y'all going into somebody's house. And how do you find the evidence? 1996. How do you still find it? So you telling me nobody's been in that house since 1996?
I don't know how the evidence still sitting around. That shit don't make no sense.
They know.
I think this right here further proves that it's smoke and mirrors, man. I'm gonna read y'all some Tupac lyrics. I'm gonna read y'all some Tupac bars. So from his song Changes, he said, first ship them dope, watch them deal to brothers. Give them guns, step back, watch them kill each other. It's time to fight back. That's what Huey said. 2 shots in the dark, now Huey's dead. For those who don't know who Huey is, Huey P. Newton, he was referring to him. So Pac wasn't just hip-hop. Pac was so much bigger than hip-hop. Tupac almost, if it would have went right, he would have just been a Black Panther and carried on that legacy. Like watching that special I watched on Hulu, you know, about him and Afeni. And I found I was the biggest Tupac fan. I found out more stuff that I didn't know about him. So Tupac wasn't just a hip hop artist. He was a threat to white supremacy. He was a legit threat to white supremacy. And what happens to every Black man who takes a public stand against white supremacy? Huey P. Newton being one of them. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, Huey, the Black Panther Party. They killed them all. So we gotta stop looking at this smoke and mirrors. Yes, it was some gangster shit. It was some hood shit. Maybe, but just as Pac said, give them guns, watch them kill each other. So we gotta realize this was their plan in the beginning. They was gonna get to if it really was Orlando Anderson, Tupac must die. Thank you, Jay. If it really was Orlando Anderson, it was still them because that's what they perpetuated this. They wanted this to happen. They had to get Tupac. Tupac was talking about starting his own government, starting our own government. He was talking about doing some crazy shit. And he had a big influence. He had a big influence on niggas. So that's why they had to bring that other side to him. They had to bring that street shit. They had to put him in jail. They had to, semi-institutionalize him. I don't know if 9 months is long enough. Yeah, hell yes, jail. You know what I'm saying? They had to do that to him. They had to make him crazy because he was making too much sense. If you look at Tupac's career, he wasn't dissing cats. He wasn't doing all that before he got shot. Tupac was he was hurt that a Black man hurt him. That was his words verbatim. He couldn't believe that a Black man shot him because he rode for Black people. He made Brenda's Got a Baby at 20 years old. He made Keep Your Head Up at 19, 20 years old. He made these songs. He made changes. He made these positive songs uplifting Black people, and he really, really was about his people. He was willing to die for Black people, shooting at 2 random off-duty cops for beating up a Black man on the road. You know what I'm saying? Tupac was really about that. So they had to get Tupac out of here, man. They had to get him out of here, and I believe that they were behind everything. So now they know that we know that. They know we've been knowing that, and they're still trying to convince us otherwise. They're bringing up this new evidence 27 goddamn years later, talking about we went to somebody's house and got some new evidence 27 damn years later. If y'all don't stop, we already know what y'all did. We know that y'all did. We know that y'all killed Tupac. We know that y'all took another one of our leaders, as did y'all did Nipsey. We know what y'all did, so stop fucking doing that. Let this shit rest. We know what it is, and give it up.
America is so sick with keeping black people down that they had a black president kill Muammar Gaddafi in Libya when he was starting a black currency and unifying Africa under one currency. And he killed them with a drone strike. And then after, they asked Obama, so do you have any regrets? And he comes out and says, my only regret as president is being involved in that strike that killed Muammar Gaddafi. And if y'all look at what Gaddafi was doing in Libya, they try to say that he was a dictator. They try to say that he was enslaving his people, when really he was creating a currency that was going to take the dollar out. And they went to the United Nations, and the United Nations told Obama that he couldn't go intervene, so he sent the drone strike over there to kill Gaddafi.
Damn.
And it's so big that they won't even, they do that to us in America, but even outside of America, NATO is over here trying to keep the black man down and make sure we stay in this place that they put us in historically. So it's bigger, and that's America for us, to be honest with you. From the hip hop scene to the political scene, they're doing everything in their power to keep black men exactly where we are right now. And every time we try to break out of that box or oppose that way of thinking, two shots in the head. Now Huey dead. Straight like that. Well, let's get to this political news, man, before we get up out of here, man. So if y'all haven't heard, Donald Trump, DeSantis is running against Trump for the Republican Party. And that was Trump making fun of the Democrats crying, but now that's him crying himself, because now the Democrats is using AIs to make campaigns, making it seem like he's saying shit that he's not. And he's crying about them utilizing the AIs and utilizing his likeness, but there's no laws against it. So there's nothing to govern against it. Therefore, there's really nothing that you can fight. They can do this all day and night. And if the propaganda works, then you lose. What's your thoughts on this AI Trump campaign DeSantis put out? And now y'all think this is just the beginning of this AI shit that we seeing going crazy. We thought it was going to go crazy in the hip hop game, but now they're using it as political tactics.
What's called a deep fake? Is that a deep fake? I think that's what they call it, like deep fake or something like that. Or is that different? But like, ain't no fun when the rabbit got the gun. I think for Trump, ain't no fun, and I think that's just what that is. I think I'm more concerned about it for just everyday average American people like ourselves, like, because if you can do it like this, what's to stop them for taking my brother and saying he did something that he didn't do? You know what I'm saying? Or taking myself and saying that. So it's one of those things to where I think, you know, I don't feel sorry for. I ain't gonna say it like that because I ain't gonna say. I don't feel sorry. I don't feel sorry for people who ain't gonna feel sorry for me in that situation, and I don't feel like none of them rich people will care if I was in that situation. And I just think it's one of those things to where it's more important of just protecting the people, like and going from Tupac to say that because that's what that was, is protecting the people, especially when it's particularly black people. Because if you could start using things like that, what is to say that we're not living in the digital age of the '94 crime bill and you start convicting us with stuff? That's just how I look at that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's all a distraction. Just like you know, with the Tupac news, it's all a distraction. Let's keep in mind that Dos Santos down in Florida is trying to erase, rewrite, recreate, reprograde, all of this shit down in Florida, especially with the history, especially you know, with the history of black people. You know, he's trying to change, you know, the texts in schools and regulate this and regulate that. Again, if you are a black person, if you live in Florida, if you can get out. If you please don't visit Florida right now, don't get Florida, any of you, nor Texas, for that matter. You know, it's just a distraction. You know, anything with Trump is a distraction. Again, it's amazing how this man can constantly be news and create some type of news and create some type of distraction and and then people just oh it's Trump, like what's happening here, or what's going, like, man, that like that shit is crazy. Like, he is such a distraction. The fact that he can potentially, and we talked about this last show, that he could potentially be in prison, in jail, and still win, not just run, win the presidency, is absolutely asinine. And Dos Santos, he's following right in line with almost all of the notorious white political um, uh, uh, bastards, for lack of a better term. For what they're doing with trying to create these different laws and rewrite history. And again, I brought up earlier, just not you're trying to rewrite history in the schools. You're trying to influence these children to make them think that black people. I think one of the things I saw was that black people also use violence against white people during slavery, like bullshit like that. It's just absolutely asinine. But this man is doing it. So let's shift the focus. Let's not again. I get it why Trump is constantly in the news. This is his way to stay relevant, right? Like, so we can ignore the fact that he's about to be indicted again. He's about to possibly get arrested again. Let's ignore that and, keep the energy on, him and his race and him trying to, be the next president again. And Dos Santos trying to follow in his footsteps. But even taking it another step further. Same thing that's happening in Texas with the Governor Abbott, I believe. These states, and these people in these political positions, this shows why America is spelled with not a C, but with 3 Ks. Again, we shouldn't get lost in and what's really happening and what's really truly going on, and that they're really trying to rewrite history, trying to change laws. Again, we see it going on with the Supreme Court, affirmative action and overturning, abortion and all these things that they've been doing the last year or so. They're really trying to rewrite and rechange, and rechange shit. Like it's getting crazy, and we need to really start paying attention. And again, they're going to keep throwing these distractions at us. It's not going to stop. Next thing you know, we found Biggie's killer. Like, get the hell out of here. Like y'all been saying, let that shit rest. And let's not lose sight of what's really happening, what's really going on here.
To that point though about them rewriting history, if you guys ever read George Orwell, he wrote Animal Farm, the book 1985. The main character in that book, his job was basically to go and he would be assigned old magazines and old newspaper articles, and he would rewrite them, and then they would change it and get rid of the past and basically change the history of what was written. And the main character, that was his job. And the police had every day the TV would come on and they would have mandatory watching of this propaganda. And there's a lot of this shit that happened in that book is what's happening right now in a different way. So I advise everybody, if you into books, please, if you're not, please get into it. But 1985 by George Orwell. And if you haven't read Animal Farm, the Animal Farm, they ran off the farmers from the farm, and then the animals took over the farm. But then the pigs became like the politicians. And by the end of the book, the pigs was having a meeting with the humans, and you couldn't tell the difference between the pigs and the humans.
Hey, and also that was an episode of Twilight Zone back in the 50s or 60s as well. So check out that shit too. Like, they've been telling us what's coming. That's the thing about white people. They can iron out that shit and predict that shit for 50 to 100 years. Whatever they was doing, again, during slavery, we all know what happened. That shit still affects us today. Why? Because they was writing books and talking about that shit in the 16 and 1700s when they discovered what we're capable of in Africa. They've been planning all of this shit out. Like to Cameron's point, all of this shit is just coming into fruition. And we just got to be paying attention and seeing what they put out there. It's always out there in movies and shows and books. They constantly drop hints and let you know what the fuck is coming.
But I just want to say too, again, to like kind of just even it out to like the importance of Black people protecting their digital footprint, because if we do not do that, like in this time and age, because it's such a warfare going on, but the digital aspect of it, especially in communities where we may say we don't have access to it, but when we do get access to it, we're so free with it, we don't understand that. If you can do a simple deep fake video like that, just imagine how they can do towards us and us not know it, and we'll just go with it. So I think the other side of that is that, like, my love for cybersecurity and understanding those things is like you have to like just the awareness and the lack of access that we have to it, that it's so easy. They were like, the reason I said 94 crime bill, because that's just, if you can pull a Black man off the streets and do that, what stops you from making a video of any one of us? And then I was just on the podcast. He did that, dang! But you don't even think about it because it's just happening. You know what I'm saying? So I just
the last two. Yeah, the last two, like if you look at Will Smith's, there's two movies Will Smith got. He got iRobot,
Your Robot,
right?
Yep.
iRobot, and one that most people don't know about, I know about because I got kids, is he has this cartoon movie out. I forget the name of it, but in this cartoon movie, he's a spy, right? He's like a super spy. And moral of the
with Tom Holland, with Spider-Man.
Yeah. And so what ends up happening is they steal his the guy steals his identity and pretty much does crimes under him. And so now the government's after pretty much Will Smith. It's a cartoon, but they're after him because they took his identity and posed, and they were like, "No, this was you. You did that." And he was like,
showing that to the kids.
Yes. Showing it to the kids.
Yes.
Showing it to the kids. So, and I work with cameras all the time, right? We got 4K out right now, but 8K's already been out. But then when they give it to the people, they already used it and they're done with it. We got drones. Oh, we can fly drones and everything. Oh, that's cool. The government's been using drones for years, killing people. All they did is take off the little weapons and just put a camera on it, and now selling it to us. So technology, y'all better you better watch it.
That's crazy.
I think
just final thoughts, Ronnie.
Oh yeah, just everybody covered pretty much everything. Trump quit crying because you was doing a lot of talking out there. You feel me? You was saying a lot of wild shit. So don't get mad at the motherfuckers using this technology to say some wild shit. Quit your crying, quit being a crybaby, and take your little ass whooping like a man. Trump, shut your ass up. And just touching on what the fellas were saying about rewriting history. It's been a tactic of them to do this. Another example of that is, that they like to distract us. They like to bring things that distract us and to make us think differently. So Google and SEO all plays a factor. So the movie Black Panther, nice movie, all that stuff. Pretty cool. Marvel. It was, everybody was hyped because we got a black superhero. But you see what that does 20 years from now, if we don't do something about it, nobody, when you Google Black Panther, you're going to see the movie and you're not even going to be able to look up the Black Panther Party, which was a key part of our history. So they like erasing shit like that and they're replacing it with a fictitious movie like Black Panther. Everybody, Wakanda's not fucking real, y'all. Like, stop saying Wakanda forever. Shit is a fictitious place. So that's another way another tactic of theirs of rewriting history and making us remember shit differently. So, we got to educate ourselves. Obviously, we got to stay on our toes, and we got to keep the real shit alive in creative ways in order for us to not our shit not to die out, because they trying to just erase us. That's all.
Speaking on that Black Panther thing, they take real history and then make it fictitious, and that's what Marvel does a lot. And if you know about coltan is something that absorbs energy and then redistributes it. So vibranium is based off of a real mineral called coltan. If you know about China is raiding Africa right now because they're the leader in making lithium batteries. And this coltan is the thing that makes these batteries rechargeable. So how they take reality and then mix it with fiction, and then if niggas never pick up a book, then we'll never know any of this shit. You know, they say if you want to keep something from a nigga, put it in the book, man. Put it in the book. You know what I'm saying? So this shit is real, man. They really doing it on all levels, from movies to TV to books to just everyday life, man. They're really rewriting everything as they go. Let's get some shout outs before we get up out of here.
I'll go first. Shout out to everybody that came out. This is one of our better shows. I think every show is fire, but I think this is one of our better shows. We got a lot of dialogue, a lot of different points. Everybody's up here intelligent, making fine points. So shout out to the crew. Shout out to people that's watching us. You know, shout out to everybody that's out there making a difference, and shout out to everybody that's trying to stay woke, like really woke, like not that bullshit, not that fake woke, but really woke. You know what I mean? It's a lot of stuff that's going on. So, you know, I just want to give everybody credit for staying 10 toes down.
I would like to give a shout out to you gentlemen. Like Ronnie was saying, we literally had a GOAT talk and nobody interrupted one another and nobody talked over each other. So that big value there. So shout out to all you gentlemen. And once again, shout out to you gentlemen, because the man on here, my brother, Devontae Suarez, that's my blood brother. That is my heart. And so I thank you guys for welcome him on the show. And, you know, you had me fooled at first, Devontae, with your Travis Knight. I was like, oh damn. But these are my people, man. They're the ones that help me get woke. And these are the guys that I get on with every Wednesday, and they teach me some things, how to be a better black man, how to be a better husband, and how to just keep grinding. So I appreciate all you gentlemen that are on here.
Yes, sir. Respect.
I just want to say, man, shout out to y'all for having me, man, because this was fun. This was great. And I'm always open if y'all welcome me back. It's good to always build with just other black men and just hear other point of views, you know what I'm saying, and hear people's thoughts and just vibe. And I just want to say thank y'all for just the platform, the invitation, first of all, you know what I'm saying? And thank y'all for just having something just that we need, because like we always say we need black positivity, but I'm on this kick right now where we need to see it from brothers. You know what I'm saying? It starts with us, you know what I'm saying? Yep. And like to see all y'all build, hearing all y'all different perspectives and stuff like that. I loved it. I love the vibe of it. I love each one of y'all spirits and stuff. I'm more of a like, I listen and try to vibe and see, okay, what's up? Make sure this ain't no bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And but it was y'all some real ass motherfuckers, and I fuck with you. So like, but more importantly, I appreciate y'all loving and looking out for my little brother. You know what I'm saying? That's my guy, man. You know what I'm saying? So I appreciate that, and I encourage all of y'all to come vibe with us on the Express Yourself Black Man page. You know what I'm saying? It's follow us, vibe, and you know what I'm saying, tap in, because we need more unity like this. So what y'all building, this is the change, because they don't want us to come together like this. So I really, truly, you know what I'm saying? It's late in Tulsa here, and I was like, dang, I don't know if I'm gonna fall asleep on this mug, but y'all energy kept me up, and you know what I'm saying? And I fuck with it. I appreciate y'all for real.
Yes, sir. Respect.
Yeah, shout out to you guys. As always, shout out to PolitiKan. Just want to say, God bless everybody. Your mental health is everything. So just, get your rest, drink your water, Make sure you, as what Marshawn Lynch would say, watch y'all chicken. And just keep pushing on. Just keep pushing on, and look, pay attention, people. Just pay attention to what's going on, not just in the political world and this and that. We always want to say that, right? But just pay attention to what's going on around you, man. If you're walking down the street, see a elderly lady, with grocery bags or something like that, just help. Just look up and pay attention. Stop always looking down at the phone or just, oh, that's not my problem or that's not my worry, man. We're all human beings at the end of the day. I would want somebody to help my mom, or I would want somebody to, help a friend, or I would want to help one of you guys, or, or y'all brothers or y'all sisters or whoever, right? Like, let's just all be decent human beings. Let's just try that anyway. I mean, I know, it's easier for Black people to do that than other races. But, listen, man, everybody, we all got to come together, man. Even some of the poor white people, man, they got to realize, like, look, we, these rich people, these wealthy people, they trying to take everybody out. They think that they can destroy Earth and go to Mars or Pluto somewhere, and that's not going to happen. That's not feasible, right? So, let's just try to all be good people, while we here on Earth. And I just wish all of y'all, the best in everything that y'all are doing. And as always, shout out to PolitiKan, and God bless everybody.
Sir, yes, sir. Respect.
Shout out everybody on the cast, man, on the panel. I appreciate y'all brothers coming on here with me every week. I just seen a picture. It's the young boy Xavier, that work with us. And I met Xavier back in 2018. And he took a picture at my first studio. And it was about 7, 8 of us in the picture doing this podcast, about 6 years ago. And everybody in that picture is no longer in the picture as far as PolitiKan broadcasting. And, I never let that get me down. I never let that stop me or stop pushing the agenda, because a lot of those people that were on that cast, they weren't able to have these intelligent conversations that we're having now. So as far as the content, it definitely made a big difference as far as having brothers like y'all on this versus having the people that I started with. So at first, it was a resentment, like, oh man, they left me on stuck. But in reality, their calling wasn't for this. They weren't called to do this. Us brothers here on this panel, this is our destiny. We were called for this. We were made for this, and that's why we do this so effortlessly. So shout out to y'all brothers, man. Keep the fight up and keep inspiring, not only just me, but the people out there. Because like I say all the time, I draw inspiration from y'all, my peers. I don't watch celebrities. I don't give a fuck what millionaires is doing. If I wake up today and I see Amrod getting it, as you seen him, he said HL podcast coming back in September. You know what I'm saying? That's motivated me. You know what I'm saying? The famous homie, when I see him working towards his reality show and every step that they taking, I know that it's going to be a success because of all the work that I know gets put in behind the scenes. Yaji Kedde with his job. You know what I'm saying? I've seen his content go from here to here. You know what I'm saying? Just on a different level of actually applying, these things instead of just talking about it. We're all in the act. We talk about all this shit, but when we get off and there's no cameras watching us, we're all pushing this agenda on our daily lives. You know what I'm saying? We're not just talking about it. This is the way that we live. So I appreciate all y'all brothers. And one thing that I always got to tell y'all, man, is that I'm in beast mode. I got a different fire in me right now. The main thing I'm chasing really is I'm all about the money right now. I did a lot of favors. I did a lot of establishing myself. And now it's time for me and the team to eat, man. So Media Madness is going down August 26th. We got the Skydive Bar in Paris, California. He's about to see the promotion go crazy for that. We about to make a big splash. But, man, we really getting to it, man. We about to show people what we talking about instead of telling them. You know what I'm saying? I'm done talking. You know what I'm saying? It's all about the action at this point. If they put you in a cage with a lion, just because you don't try to eat the lion, don't mean the lion ain't gonna try to eat you, man. PolitiKan the podcast. We are.
Want to stop me? You're gonna have to fucking kill me!
Smoking Dank Sinatra, that's all gas. On the hunt in the tall grass. Intercepting every ball pass, then I run it back, that's a TD. Check the scoreboard, y'all last. We up one, you see me. Pussy niggas wanna talk about it, go to Hellcat, no demon. I be politicking on your broadcast at the red carpet like the famous homie. Ask your bitch, really famous homie, and you know it's in me. It ain't on me. So creative like I made a dope.